Thank you, Sophie. And hello to everybody. My name is David Nafria, and I work in the Agricultural Research Institute here in Castilla. My institution is let's say, a small research institute that belongs to a regional pain agency. In Spain, as many of you know, there are 17 regional pain agencies, plus a national coordinating body that is the FIGA. And inside my region, we have like a regional Ministry of Agriculture, who is the actual pain agency, and we are organized like in two departments. One is let's say, the official team, more linked to the government and focusing all the administrative aspects of the CAP. And we, as a research institute, we provide some support to the CAP and to some developments. Inside my institutions, there are like two teams. There was one of the teams was more focusing on research, earth observation, agrometeorology, satellite positioning, and things like that. That was involved especially at the beginning of the checks by monitoring process. And then we have like another team more focused in providing support, technical support to the pain agency, especially with the LPIS upkeeping, the on-the-spot checks and the checks by monitoring. And that team is now, as the checks by monitoring are becoming operational, they are becoming more protagonists or starting in this process. How we were involved in the Sen4CAP project. So at the beginning in 2014, we developed our own technology to do some kind of crop maps, pixel-based crop map based on the USDA methodology. It was very, very successful. So we went back up to 2011 and we developed a full system to create an operational crop map updated year by year. We came to the conclusion that was a very, very useful tool for checking the CAP controls, but we were not very successful trying to push the pain agency going in that direction until in 2017. Everything started to change thanks to some ISA projects and some change in the regulation by the European Commission. There was like an opening to come into the ability of coming to an automatic base, 100% base remote sensing process. In that year, we were proposed by the national coordinating body, FEGA, to participate in Sen4CAP project that was starting at that moment, that was mentioned by Sophie at the beginning. During 2017, there wasn't much working in Sen4CAP, but drafting some requirements and prototyping and things like that. In 2018, we were very involved in Sen4CAP, trying to help the team to produce the first evidence and things like that. It was a year that we were supposed to be preparing ourselves for monitoring. That was something that was going to come in 2019, but it was like a transition year that was, from my perspective, not quite productive. Then in 2019, we started officially doing monitoring. We started with a small portion of in the center area of the region, was what we consider the easiest area, with only 6.4% of the claim area. We developed a monitoring system just for the first pillar, but all the schemes are the first pillars. That year, in 2019, we took advantage of our participation in Sen4CAP, and we took some markers for the operational monitoring, especially the crop type product was used in the monitoring process. Here you can see, for instance, this column that represents most of the parcels of that monitored area, the parcels that are between 0.5 and 5 hectares. So this green area at the bottom is the coincidence between our crop map, our pixel-based crop map, and the Sen4CAP object-based crop type map. And these other are the two products were divergent, but one of them was coincident with the farmer application, so we considered it was right. So that year we did like a combination of our product and Sen4CAP product for the monitoring. In 2020, with the extension of the Sen4CAP project, our priority was to set Sen4CAP running in our premises. The monitoring area grew significantly, So we went up to close to 30% of the claim area was officially monitored in 2020, and we went to the first and the second pillar. So we developed new markers. Most of the markers that were from the first pillar are very useful for the second pillar because many aids have many requirements are related to crops and specific days and things like that, so are easy to implement. And we developed some specific markers for detecting irrigation and some other specific for second pillars. During that year, we installed the Sen4CAP in our premises and in a cloud environment in a Skylet, that is a supercomputing center that belongs also or is part of the regional government. So we did 2 installations in one year. According with my colleagues from the IT department, they consider that the installation process is quite clean, based in the scripts that are provided in the Sen4CAP software. It's very well documented and it's quite easy to update. We did this we updated to the version 2. We had a very good support from the Sen4CAP team, especially from Cosmin, so because we've been during some period of time very demanding in some aspects relating to the installation. So we had a very good support from the team and especially from Cosmin during this process. And the only thing that we found a little bit tricky, it's not tricky in fact, because you can always check the amount of storage that the files are using in the hard disk, but we were not able to monitor the disk usage, the storage use of the system, the Sen4CAP system, and that made the system to stop several times because we needed to enlarge the volume where it was stored. Regarding the data usage, that's like general information from a paying agency that could have the same or more or less the same area as we have, because we are like an average areas paying agency. We require like 11 terabytes to store the full 2020 season, storing even the raw Sentinel-1 and Sentinel-2 data, so downloading everything from the ESA hub without using any DIAs. So keep in mind that for that area, 11 terabytes, even storing that raw data is enough. What about 2021? This year, we will continue monitoring, of course, second pillar, first and second pillar. We are going to go for the 100% of the claim area. That is the claim area is more than 5 million hectares. The area of the region is close to 10 million hectares. For the operation, we are working like the problem that we have, and it's been happening since the beginning of the Sen4CAP project, is that at the same we were developing our own monitoring system, not as professional or well, not documented, and not with the interface that the Sen4CAP system has, and not with as many markers, but with others that are more local adapted to us. So we have our own system that download and intersect the vectors and things like that, many of the things that Sen4CAP does. But we still see that Sen4CAP is much more powerful and in many aspects that we would like to take from Sen4CAP and introduce in our system. So one of the objectives, it was in fact in 2020, was to take advantage of Sen4CAP and replace some of our elements. But this is something that we are doing at the same time that we are monitoring. So it's very difficult where to put your efforts, because when you have a lot of work to do developing the new system, and of course take advantage of a new product like the tillage that I think it will be commented later, but because it's very important for us, especially in the future. I made this slide just to summarize, because many people have sometimes a misunderstanding about what Sen4CAP can do for them in terms of monitoring. When you set up a monitoring system, you need to adapt many things in the claim process and the way you solve you do the checks and things like that. And Sen4CAP covers you a very important part of that, but not everything. So I think it's important to have in mind that. First, we need to we adapted the farmer's application software, so that's everybody got that farmer application software, but we updated it with a new satellite imagery updated for the current season, so the farmers can see their actual plots with the current imagery. For that, we've been using the Synergize API that was provided to us thanks to the Sen4CAP project. And we modify the farmers application software in order to preload some markers from previous year and from the current season land cover. As a kind of, when the farmer applies, it got like a pre-monitoring information in a way of warnings. If it's something that doesn't match with the current land cover, or when he asks for a specific aid, there is like a warning saying, are you sure that you are applying for that? Because according with the information, this is not correct, or things like that. But it's just a warning, but it's a modification that we did. The second point that is essential, and I marked as essential in the arrow that you can see on the left side of the screen, is the image downloading and preprocessing. That we have some scripts that do this job, but clearly Sem4Cap outperform what we have, and does it very much more professional and easy to introduce to any newcomer, any new paying agency willing to do this. So this is clearly a starting point to use Sem4Cap. Then you need derived products from the imaginary, derived products to detect crops and detect some agricultural practice identification in the way of markers. Sem4Cap has lots of them, or some of them, or give you the basic to build your own markers based on the information that was downloaded and processed by Sem4Cap. But maybe they don't fulfill all the markers that you may need especially if you go to second pillar or specific aids. But it's a very good starting point. Then you need a vector intersection to store the markers in a database, and that database should be close to the Ajax database. That's something that the Sem4Cap is doing thanks to the APIs. Then you need decision rules based in monitoring information, based in the markers and in the Ajax database. So you have all the information in the Ajax, but you have to take advantage of the markers, develop some rules, and launch them and get the traffic lights. And that's Sem4Cap has some, like, let's say, use case with like crop diversification and things like that. But in fact, that should be done by the Ajax team that is used to do all the cross checks and things like that. So those rules should be implemented in the Ajax. Afterwards, you need an expert judgment tool that integrates when there is a non-conclusive case, or a case that it's an area that is not correct or whatever. You need a tool to check what happened, to check the rule, check the data, check the Ajax information. It's not the tool, the Geopedia that is in Sem4Cap, because you need a tool to integrate all the Ajax information. I mean, what the farmer applied for, what modification required the application to be done in order to pass and become green. So it's a tool that is more linked to the Ajax than to the remote sensing segment, but of course needs to integrate both things. And later on, that has been said many times, you may need a farmer interaction procedure in the way of an application for the mobile phone or whatever, for notification, you take pictures and so on. That is not essential, but it's another element that could be interesting. So for just finish, and of course this is not covered with Sem4Cap project. My conclusions is, like, for us, Sem4Cap looks very, very appealing. It has many features that got quite interesting for us, but it's a challenge to us to integrate with our in-home process and in the Ajax, because the things that we developed during these years are very linked to the Ajax. The scripts and things like that are taking advantage of having direct access to the Ajax database and having the markers all together and being able. And this is Sem4Cap give us it's like a separate or independent system. We see a problem with the update of the geometries of the geospatial applications in the Sem4Cap system. In our system, we update the geometries because there are changes during the controls and things like that. And that process has to be quite smooth. So we need to add new vectors, and the vectors should be updated with all the information that is in the imaginary. But you don't want to update the vectors that were not updated, because that's a very heavy work for the workload for the machine. So we need a way to update everything more or less lively and have a checking the validity of the geometries and go like more smooth in the not having that process to import the geometries, get results, and if you want, you need to import it. So we need to look at this process. And the markers database API, it's a quite appealing thing for us because it's a way to accessing lots of information in the or to develop new markers. And my final remark is that, of course, if we were starting with the check by monitoring from scratch right now, Sem4Cap would be our starting point for sure, because solve most of the preliminary elements that you need to set up the system. And that's all. And thank you very much.